Okay, this is another attempt to read chapter 2. From time to time it dawned. I was swept on by a wave of excitement which carried me through such rival ceremonies as being deloused and having my papers okayed. The formalities completed, an immigration officer put me on the train for Holyoke. I'm at Massachusetts, explaining in Yiddish that I was to sit still. He could have saved his breath, of course. I would sit still. I was too scared to move a muscle. The train was much bigger and noisier than any I had seen in Russia, and when an American lady, nothing like a statue, took the seat beside me, I could not help staring at her strange clothes. After a while, it dawned on me that maybe I was the one who was dressed peculiarly, and I tried to push my potato sack out of sight. The lady smiled and spoke to me, but I could only shake my head dumbly. All during the trip I listened to the voices around me, trying to sort out what they were saying. Excitement sustained me till I was in the depot at Holyoke. Standing by the ticket window, I watched as passengers were greeted and hugged and kissed. Then the train puffed away, and I, left alone with my potato sack, discovered that I was tired and hungry and homesick. Although I kept reminding myself that it was not just a dream, I was really in America, and all my friends in Yano would give their eye teeth to be in my shoes. My attempt at a pep talk was not very successful. All I wanted to do was cry. The station master came over and looked at the identification tag pinned to my coat. Speaking to me in German, which I could understand a little, he said not to be frightened. I was sure to be right, and he gave me a piece of candy. Feeling a little better, I settled down to wait, but my morale was completely shattered when it grew dark and the big electric signs flashed on. I had never seen anything like it before, and I was petrified. At long last, the Grodeskis, the people with whom I was to stay, came bustling up to claim me. After making sure I was all in one piece, Mr. Grodesky slung my potato sack over his shoulder and motioned to Mrs. Grodesky for us to follow him. I remember looking back and smiling at the station master who waved goodbye. The Grodeskis had come to America 5 years before, and though not acquainted with my family, were friends of friends. Father arranged to send them a sum of monthly in advance for my keep and schooling, but as I arrived in mid-November, it was too late to enroll me for the current term, so Mrs. Grodesky suggested that for the time being I'd help her with the housework, explaining that Nadia, the eldest of their numerous children, was preparing for college and was not much around the house. My relationship with the Grodeskis was a curious one. I was fed and clothed and taken care of. No one struck me or spoke to me harshly. No one was unkind. Instead, their attitude toward me was one of complete indifference. All my life I had been an affectionate child, demonstrative and outgoing. Now, surrounded by the unresponsive Grodeskis, I had to learn to live within myself. My first friends in America were the McDonald sisters who lived next door. They invited me to join the games, told me the English words for things, and never made fun of me. After I started school, I found another friend in my teacher, Mrs. O'Sullivan, who was kind and patient and took extra time to help me catch on to American ways. But perhaps the most valuable thing she taught me was to take a joke. Thanks to Mrs. O'Sullivan, when the other kids laughed at the slips I made, I could laugh with them. Being a woman of heart, she understood that for people who have had a little opportunity to acquire social graces, laughter sometimes can be the saving one. I worked hard in school, but when at the term's end I came home brandishing a report card glittering with A's, Mr. Grodesky signed it without comment. Mr. Grodesky signed it without comment. Pats on the head were not included with room and board. However, as consolation, there was a letter from my father saying the family would soon be sailing for America. That was in June 1914. A few weeks later, the First War was in full swing, and this effectually scuttled our family's travel plans. Moreover, it meant that I could not go back to school since I was only 5 months away from a diploma. I pleaded with him to allow me to finish, and in the end he relented enough to allow me to attend summer school, but there was a condition. Though I was only 14, I must ask my father to send me a notarized certification that I was 16. Since I could not pay for my keep, I must go to work. And in the Golden Land, you have to be 16 to get a job. The day after the necessary papers arrived, I went to work in a paper factory. The wages were $3 a week, and I worked there 2 years. There is not much to remember about those years. I joined a library and spent my free time reading and writing to my family. I heard that my only sister, Stala, had died of malnutrition, and that the Germans had taken our horse, Gaba, and our cow, and killed our chickens. The happenings in far-off Russia were unreal to me, and gradually passing of time from me the thought of being with my family. How I was to go about it, I had no idea, but I knew that I must make a life for myself. I hated the confinement, the humdrum routine, the narrowness of life in the Godesky house. America was a whole big country, not just one town called Holyoke. Why shouldn't I see some of it? Was I to spend all my days like a mole, hidden away from the sun, buried behind dark walls of the factory? Father had written that I had a cousin living in Brooklyn, New York, and one night at dinner, as I looked around at the stolidly chewing Godeskis, I decided to toss a bombshell. I'm going to New York, I blurted, and I waited tensely for the reaction. Pass the mustard, Nadia.